Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of What is a Hit Record podcast. Today, we will address interesting rumors regarding somebody we haven't heard of or somebody that hasn't been in the news for a while in Miss Rihanna. So, just to start with that, there are rumors that Rihanna is releasing new music in November as part of the new Wakanda movie that is coming out. So I think that comes out November 11th. So expect new music. I think at least two new tracks from Rihanna on November 11th. Now, there are also rumors that she's going on tour, on a world tour. Um, Soon after that. She's also remember she's also performing as the halftime headliner for this year's or next year's, however you want to call it, for next year's Super Bowl as well. So there are big things in the works in regards to Rihanna. She's back in the music game. It seems like after taking I don't even know how many years off. So I don't even remember when her last album was. I think maybe 2014 or 13. I don't know, but it's very. I'm addressing that because I'm very interested to see what kind of music and what kind of direction Rihanna is going in regards to the new music that is rumored to come out. Hi, Mr. Roberts. How are you? Thanks for joining um, in the back, as our esteemed producer is now here. And John Blaine was still here earlier. I don't know if he's still here, but he was here earlier. So thanks, guys, for assisting me with this, and let's have a great show. Okay. Um, some other things that I wanted to address. So apparently, Mr. Curtis Jackson, 50 Cent, has a new podcast that is available now on everywhere where you can find your podcasts. So this one is about um, how they caught one of the most notorious, how authorities caught one of the most notorious um, I guess narcotics dealers in the world. In El Chapo uh, Guzman. So it's about the two twins that reported his whereabouts to police and other evidence regarding his crimes. So there's two twins named the Flores twins that assisted authorities in um, catching El Chapo. So there's a podcast out, and I think it's gonna be made into a docu series as well as a full length movie as well. So I'm excited to see what direction Mr. Curtis Jackson goes in that way. As far as the new music releases are concerned, I think today is going to be one of the best days for music releases in recent times. I think there's an artist from New York named A Boogie. So A Boogie, I think, is one of the best artists, one of the best young artists out right now. People may know him from his hit called "Drowning," that was released in 2014, I think. But it was a number one record everywhere. So not even non hip hop listeners should know him. But yeah, I think he's one of the best young artists to come out in the music industry in recent times, and he has an album coming out on November 4th called I think it's called Me Versus Myself. So that, in my opinion, has potential to be album of the year, um, and potentially win a Grammy. He has a song that is coming out featuring Canadian artist Tory Lanez in a few hours. So that I heard a snippet of that record. It's absolutely incredible. I love the beat, and to be honest, I may get chastised for this considering his current situation. But Tory Lanez is one of the best artists that we have in Toronto currently, and again, I may get chastised for this statement, but he, in my opinion, he is more versatile than Mr. Aubrey Drake Graham is. I know from a sales perspective, um, it may look, there may seem like there's a big discrepancy, and there probably is. But in terms of versatility and overall talent, I do think that Tory Lanez is a better artist, and that's just my opinion. If I get chastised for that, then oh, so be it. But yeah, Tory Lanez is on a roll right now. He has uh he also has a new album out that came out on September 30th. So make sure you run those numbers up on that. I think it's called Sorry for What. So sorry, the number 4 and the word what. So sorry for what. Um, that came out on September 30th. So yeah, please support Canadian artists, support anybody you enjoy actually. So yeah, that album came out on September 30th, and actually September 30th was the last day also to submit your album for the Grammys. Speaking of the Grammys, The Weeknd as well as Drake have boycotted the Grammys, meaning they've removed themselves from all and the music from all categories regarding the Grammys. So that is a big issue. Um, and that should tell most artists that um, if you see artists like Drake and The Weeknd removing their music from contention in regards to the Grammys, that should tell up and coming artists that the Grammys aren't really on the up and up. Um, I think for the most part, Drake removed his music from contention because of what they're doing with Nicki Minaj's um, new music, which is she released a single and that was supposed to go for Grammy contention, but they removed that particular song from the hip hop categories, and but Nicki Minaj is a hip hop artist, obviously, but that particular, according to the Grammys, that particular song does not sound like hip hop. So what the Grammys are doing is that they removed it from hip hop categories, and that's part of the reason why some artists are boycotting um, the Grammys, is because they feel like their music isn't being recognized in the categories that it should be. So I forgot the name of the record right off the top of my head, but they moved Nicki Minaj's recent song, to a pop category, even though she wanted it to represent in the hip hop category. Um, so yeah, that is some of the reasons that um, artists like the Drake and the Weeknd are boycotting the Grammys, because they feel like they're not being treated fairly when it comes to nominations. What else is there on the docket here? Oh yes, let's go. Let's track back. Let's backtrack to October 7th, because I want to talk about a legendary artist who released an album on October 7th. after 23 years, he released the second part of this album. So I think in a few years ago, not a few years ago, but more than a few years ago, Cormega released The Realness 1. And now 22 years later or 23 years later, he released the Realness 2, which already has gained critical acclaim within the hip hop community. It features artists like Lloyd Banks and Nas, so that's already something that I have in heavy rotation because it features obviously some of my favorite artists. Speaking of Nas, it was been announced yesterday that Nas is releasing the third installment of his King's Disease albums that's coming out on November 11th. So right now, I just mentioned two big releases that are coming out from artists that are astronomical in the world. So two big releases coming out already on November 11th. Apparently there's two songs from Rihanna coming out and a full-length album from Nas coming out on both on November 11th. So we're currently looking at one of the better months in the music industry when it comes to this upcoming November, which is actually in 3 weeks or 2 weeks, I should say. November is in 2 weeks, but November 11th is in 3 weeks. All right. So, what else is there? What else? Let's see what else I can talk about. So I talked about the release from A Boogie. He also has an album coming out on November 4th, right? So, yeah, I talked about A Boogie, I talked about Rihanna, I talked about Nas, all dropping projects in November. What else is there to talk about? I talked about 50's new podcast. Oh, there was big news, and this is you wouldn't expect an artist to delve into this category of making coffee. So Jadakiss and Ghostface, they ventured into the coffee making business. They announced their new brand of coffee named Veljo yesterday actually. So speaking of coffee, we have our own coffee brand named along with Motor Oil Coffee, named the Around the Ropes Podcast Coffee. If Mr. Roberts or Mr. Blaine are there and they want to come in here and explain more about our coffee line, please feel free to do so.
What's up, brother? So,
hello, Mr. Roberts.
For those of you that are coffee drinkers like myself and Mr. Kosta,
yes,
it is a Sumatra blend that is very smooth. That if you normally go to Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, and you put sugar in your coffee, you're not going to need it with this. All you just need is your creamer or your milk. But stay tuned to our social media for how you can purchase it. When you purchase it, please give your name and address so we can mail them to you.
Right.
We do have a PayPal account. That is where all of we collect the money.
PayPal, yeah.
PayPal, we will put it out there.
Yep.
Stay tuned. Within the next few days, we will be putting everything up there. Not only that, Kosta, you forgot something else.
What did I forget?
Something that goes with coffee.
Really? We have our own mugs.
We have our own coffee mugs. You got an 11 ounce?
Yeah.
And you got a 14 ounce.
Yep.
The 11 ounce is $10. The 14 ounce is $15.
Yep.
All that will be on our social medias between the Around the Ropes podcast and the ATR network. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah. And by the way, those mugs remind me of a Star Wars design. Like they're
Correct.
incredible. They're incredible. It's an incredible design. I applaud whoever came up with those ideas. I think it was Mr. Roberts that mostly came up with those ideas. But yes,
Everything came through my brain.
yes, yes, definitely. But I love those designs. I can't wait for my mugs and my merchandise to get here. I know that I live in Toronto, Canada, but and it's gonna be difficult to get here, but I can't wait for the day that they get here, man.
Trust me, dude. You'll enjoy it.
I know I will. I know I will. And again, I am very grateful to Mr. Blaine and Mr. Roberts for allowing me to have this platform, to be a part of this network, and to allow me to speak my mind on different things that that I am interested in. And
Well,
we are
don't
interested
forget,
in
Kosta, you're not finished yet. This is just the start.
Yeah, I have. Believe it or not, there may be some people that are bored with this show, but I have a lot of surprises that are coming through the pipeline, and we're just planning it out. We're just making sure all the I don't want to say paperwork, but all our dots, all our T's are crossed and I's are dotted. So I just want to make sure everything's good. But I do have big plans for this show, and I hope that everybody tunes in to when those surprises happen.
Oh, yeah. But not only that, Kosta, don't forget, you got something else in the works, too.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Should I give him a little snippet right now?
Go ahead.
Okay. So I also have a second show coming up very, very soon. It's about I'll just tell you this little tidbit. It's about individuals who have a disability who have been very successful in the music industry and other fields as work as well. So it's basically about highlighting disabilities and getting the point across that people can be successful in their lives regardless of what obstacles they face. So that's the essential point of the second podcast I have coming. I'm just working on some details with some guests that I have planned to come on. Okay, so guys, thank you for tuning into this show, and I hope you guys enjoy the next show that I have coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it should be good because I know there's a lot of people out there that struggle with even invisible disabilities as well. So that's going to be addressing that as well.
And then also, Kosta, I'll bring this up. They want to stay tuned because eventually, within the next, I'm going to say next month, there will be a YouTube exclusive coming out on mental health.
Yes. Yes. Which is so mental health, especially right now during the times that we're in, it's a very important thing to address because there's a lot of people that struggle with mental health regarding their jobs, their job security and stuff like that. So and other things that involve relationships. So you guys gotta stay tuned into this network, man. We have a lot of important YouTube exclusives and other shows coming up coming down the pipeline. Okay, so tune in to all that. Just one more thing that I want to address, guys. We need 100 subscribers to get our own URL in regards to our YouTube channel. So I plead with you guys to please get us to 100 subscribers so we can get our own URL here. There's also before I move on to the next topic, Um, one of the things that I wanted to talk about was the resurgence of an artist named NBA Young Boy. So he's released 6 projects already this year. So, and his goal this year was to release 10 projects. So he's already at six projects, and we have what, like 3 months left in the year. So let's see if he can do it. He has a project that's featuring Nicki Minaj, dropping in what, 4 hours at midnight. So tune in to that. I respect NBA YoungBoy's work ethic, his grind, his regardless of how many albums he's released this year, the quality hasn't dropped at all. So he's becoming a prominent artist that I'm paying attention to within the industry. Also at midnight, I want to address this. One of the artists that I work with, named Don, is releasing his new project, 16-bit, um, October 21st, which is again in 4 hours at midnight. So he is releasing his new project at midnight. I think it's gonna come along with a video and a little commercial for one of the songs. So as soon as that project drops, I will put the link. I'll put the link in the description below this video as soon as this live ends. So stay tuned for that. My boy has big things coming up to end the year. So stay tuned for that. I know there's a lot of our my listeners and listeners to the show may not enjoy rap. So and I'm trying to find I am going to find artists that can come on so I can interview them regarding R&B and other genres of music like country and metal and all that. So I'm just using my resources to tap into different artists that can come on and I can personally interview live on this show. Okay, so that was I divulged one of the secrets there before I was supposed to though. So yeah, there will be artists coming on here that I will be interviewing in the very near future. So guys, I appreciate everybody who tunes in at this point, and there are a lot of exciting things that are going to happen in regards to this show. And like I said, the second show that I have coming up, that's called Rising Above Disabilities, which is along my line of thought because I live with a disability, so I know about all the obstacles that that we face on a daily basis here. Um, and you know what? I don't usually say these things, but I'm gonna go on a rant because, and I shouldn't say this that I'm gonna go on a rant because rants are usually unplanned. But I just want to say this, and leads into or goes back to the fact that I have a disability and I have other obstacles that are in my way. So I went to my first wrestling show last week. Um, After 3 years, like ever since before the pandemic. So I went to my first wrestling show in 3 years last week. I went to AEW Rampage. And one of the problems that I faced there was that, okay, I thought my, here we go. So here in Canada, for people with disabilities, we have to book, depending on where we live, we have to book two different bus services. So there's a bus service called TTC, that's Toronto Transit Company, right? So Toronto Transit Company takes you everywhere around Toronto, obviously. Where I live, it's called York Region in Markham, Ontario, Canada. So we have on my side of the line, we have YRT, that's York Region Transit. So what happened was my Toronto Transit Company rides were planned out okay, right? I planned it out so because I knew the show ended at 10:20, so I planned out my ride to pick me up at, let's say, 10:30, right? So that was okay. The problem I ran into was that the York Region Transit Company said that when I get to the bus stop where they're supposed to pick me up, there will be no buses running until 2 a.m. So the only two options they gave me was to get a ride at 9:15 p.m. and miss the majority of the show, which I did, because that was the only bus time left. So, hey, thanks Andrew for tuning in. He says I have a disability too, so I know what you're going through. But hey, thanks Andrew. Thanks for your comment there, buddy. I try to be as awesome as possible as life allows me to. But anyway, so the bus, the only option I had was to leave the venue before 9 o'clock, so I can be at the front of the building and they can pick me up at 9:15. So that was my only option, and I missed the majority of the show. I basically wasted a lot of money there. So I just wanted to address some of the things that people with disabilities go through. I know this show in particular isn't about disabilities, but it's something that I felt that I had to address with you guys. Because there's a lot of people here that say, "Oh, at least you have transportation," but in reality, the transportation companies that are supposed to work for us, for our advantage, make it a lot harder for us to enjoy a night out and to have a safe ride home. Okay, so I just wanted to address that and let people know that it's not all peaches and cream on my side here. So and I'm really disappointed in the fact that I missed the show, the majority of the show, and that the bus company didn't really accommodate me in the way that they should. So that was disappointing. Last week was a hard week for me in general. Hopefully that this week is better, and or this week coming up is better, and yeah, I just strive to be as successful as I possibly can in anything I do. So now that rant's over, you guys, we gotta set up like a Discord here or whatnot, so people can call in and ask questions. Yeah.
We're working on that, Kosta.
All right. So, Mr. Robert, since you're here, why don't we go to commercial for a little bit, and then we can continue afterwards.
You got it.
Right.
Hey guys, this is Carl from the ATR Network, also the producer of the Around Rose podcast, and I'm proud to introduce to you one of our good partners, Moonstar Smoke, right here in Animal Park, New Jersey. There's their phone number, their fax number. Guys, if you're a vape smoker like I am, they have everything you need. Also, too, if you're a hookah smoker, they have all your needs for that. Check them out. They're a mom and pop store. Sweetest people in the world, and you want to check them out. But also, too, you want to stay tuned to see more advertisements coming from them.
And guys, welcome back to the episode 4 of the What is a Hit Record podcast. Mr. Roberts, is there anything you would like to address?
Well, since unfortunately we didn't have our show last week, I do have a little bit of sad news in the
Okay.
music world.
Okay.
It was reported on the 12th, which was Wednesday.
Yep.
American Idol runner-up Willie Spence passed away at the age of 23.
Oh, yes, I did hear about that. Yes.
And he was in the 2021 season of American Idol.
Yeah.
It seems that he passed away in a car accident. So, and he was from Georgia, which is 23 years old. It's a life that was cut short.
Yeah. Damn.
I mean, that's sad right there.
That's sad. I also, not to switch gears here, but I also heard about Kevin Nash's son, which we'll address probably on Tuesday or in the next couple of days.
Yes.
Oh man, there are a lot of young people dying in general. I don't know what's happening in this world, man, but it's tough, man. It's tough.
Now, you want to talk some music news?
Okay.
So, SoundMind had their latest episode of Unmasked featured Memphis May Fire's lead singer Natty Mullins.
Yeah.
And he actually announced something for the first time, and that is he deals with panic disorder and mental health.
Whoa. You know what? To be honest, I think I have a panic disorder too, actually. So that's interesting that that we're reading that right now. That's tough to deal with. Man.
It's very hard because panic attacks can come on just like that.
Yeah, that's true.
And it could actually send people into the hospital for it.
Yeah. Damn. Yeah. I've experienced that, because
you're thinking you're having a heart attack and it's actually a panic.
Exactly.
Panic attack.
Exactly. Not to that extent, but let's give an example of when I was in high school, right? So anytime that I needed to write a test or anything like that, my palms would automatically get sweaty, and I would like you said, my heart would start beating at a rapid pace, and I didn't know why, but it was because I was subconsciously panicking, but because you don't even realize it, right? You don't even realize it. You're subconsciously panicking about the actual test, but and your body starts reacting to it. So yeah, it's tough, guys. I don't have just one disability. You can see the physical part of cerebral palsy, but again, there are individuals and everyone who experience invisible disabilities, which are disabilities that you can't see, and they just feel it, right? So panic disorder is one of those invisible disabilities that people won't really realize what's going on with the person. They'll just think that probably they have something wrong with them, but it's usually a panic disorder.
Right. And also, too, on another note, down in Atlanta, I believe it was over the weekend.
Yeah.
Post Malone tripped on the stage and twists his ankle.
Oh, yes. I read that news. Also, speaking
That's
of
not the first time.
Okay, go ahead.
Not the first time. It's his second.
Yeah.
First time he almost fell through the stage.
Yeah, and he had broken ribs too. I think at one point. Yeah.
And there's a video of that one.
There is.
And you see him hit, and you're like, "Ooh, that's not good."
I know. Post Malone is one of the most talented artists that we have out here. So hopefully, Yeah, hopefully there's no more trip and falls on stage, buddy. We need you to be healthy and safe here.
So it was last month, September 17th, when he apparently fell through a trap door.
Yeah,
That door was open.
yeah, exactly.
Now the question is, why was that door open while he was performing?
Hey, man, I don't know. I hope it was a technical glitch and not done on purpose, but you never know. So, yeah, it's kind of weird how that happens on stage.
He didn't break anything, but he did suffer some bruised ribs, as you said.
Yeah. Speaking of Post Malone, Triple H, what was that? Is not to go into wrestling here, but Triple H there was footage of Triple H at one of Post Malone's shows, and he tried to do Triple H's signature ring intro where he spits water into the crowd, I guess you would say. But he tried that, and Triple H was backstage teaching him how to do it. But I don't know. And apparently, I heard reports of Triple H having or obtaining COVID. If that's true, I think. But
he got hit with COVID.
Yeah, he got hit with COVID. Yeah. But I hope it wasn't because of that show that he was at with Post Malone. But yeah, it was interesting to see. I bring that up because as we were discussing
go ahead. Again, music and wrestling go hand in hand at times.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So on our last wrestling show with the Around the Ropes podcast, we were discussing with our special guest Corey or Mr. Dillinger that wrestling and music really go hand in hand a lot of the times, and there are a lot of wrestlers that actually have a lot of respect for hip hop artists and rock artists in general. So it's a very good feeling to see Triple H hanging out with artists like Post Malone, right?
Very good. Yeah. Who sang Triple H's theme song?
I think it was Motorhead.
Yep.
Yeah. I think it was Motorhead. Yeah, exactly. So you see
and who was the lead singer of Motorhead?
Oh man, don't chastise me for this, but I forgot his name.
Lemmy.
Lemmy. Yes.
The God.
The God. Definitely a God. That man. I'm gonna praise wrestlers for this, man. So a lot of the intro music that they come up with and the artists come up with themselves is absolutely incredible. Absolutely. I commend wrestlers for being able to pick the correct music. 99. 90. Yeah. Yes.
The God himself, Lemmy.
I need that pop. I need that figure, Mr. Roberts. I gotta start collecting.
Yes, you do.
Yes, sir. But I wonder if they have any
rock music guy. You turn says who's God? Lemmy.
Oh my God! All right.
In the movie Airheads, starring Brandon Fraser, Adam Sandler, and Steve Buscemi.
Yep.
They asked the question: who would win in a fight, God or Lemmy?
What was the answer? Lemmy.
And they turned the one guy who actually happened to be the late Harold Ramis said, "Oh, God." Lemmy is God.
Oh man.
Yes.
Really? That's interesting. Oh, speaking of movies that are coming out in the next few weeks, I don't know if you guys are interested in this, but I love the Creed boxing series with Michael B. Jordan. So I'm looking forward to the third installment of that.
And he actually directed it.
Yes. I don't know if Mr. Stallone is gonna be in there, but regardless, it's gonna be a great movie. I love those boxing movies, man. I love them. But yeah, uh, November looks like it's gonna be an action-packed month for movies and music. So I'm excited for the month that is to come. Oh man. Uh,
Ah,
yes.
this is the first franchise movie without Rocky Balboa.
Okay. I think he was in the first one though.
Yep. He was in the first two.
Yeah, the first two. Yeah. The first two. Yeah. But so again on this show we're gonna address different topics. I know it's a music show, but I like going into different topics, including movies and other things. So you guys are gonna get a mixture of different things here. Um, Also, I think The Rock has a new movie coming out tomorrow. I think it was Black Adam or something like that. Yeah, that you guys should look out for that. I'm gonna do my best to watch that movie, um, and as well as Creed as well. So I'll tell you the guys this. I love action movies. My favorite movies are actually um the Batman's the Dark Knight series, like all of those movies, and and Keanu Reeves in the series of John Wick movies. And there's I think there's a fourth one coming out too, I believe. So
I think so.
yeah, so the John Wick movies are some of the most incredible movies I've ever seen, and I am definitely looking forward to the fourth one coming out. I also love Keanu Reeves as an actor, and yeah, like
Here's this interesting thing about Keanu Reeves.
what?
You know, he loves taking mass transit.
Yeah, and that's the opposite of what I said, but yeah. I know. He loves taking transit. Yeah, because it's more for some people. It's more economical. Not that he needs it, but it's more economical and it's easier, right? But yeah,
Not only that,
yeah.
if you are on the transit with him and you are a female or pregnant or a guy with a disability, he gives up his seat for you.
Right. And that's how society should be. But unfortunately, most of the times people only look out for themselves. But again, that's another topic for another day, right? So yeah, I commend Keanu Reeves for the community the work he does in his community and the respect he shows to other people that may be less fortunate within society and his own
Now that
community.
we're also talking about acting and all that,
Yeah.
there is a late actor that used to turn around and tell the producers and everybody else that they must hire homeless people to be in the movie. Who was it?
There was I don't know. You got to tell me.
The late Robin Williams.
Oh, right. I remember that now. You know what, man? Robin Williams was, well, he looked like, but he was the happiest person, and he enjoyed making people laugh, and it's sad to it's kind of sad to know that he was going through some kind of I guess depression or whatever. But it's sad to know that nobody. Well, I don't know if nobody, but it didn't seem.
Here's the thing about depression, dude.
Yeah.
Not everybody shows signs of depression.
I know. They're always smiling and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know, man.
And that's the scariest part about depression.
Yeah. A lot of people
don't. Again,
show
folks, stay tuned for the YouTube exclusive that we will be doing shortly. This will all be coming out on it.
Yeah. It'll all be addressed. Depression, anxiety, everything. Because the reason, and I'm gonna pull back the curtain about on this a little bit. The reason we want to do a YouTube exclusive on things like this is because I can guarantee you that myself, and I'm gonna admit this, that myself, Carl, and Mr. Blaine himself have gone through many instances regarding things like anxiety.
There's the fourth one you're forgetting.
What? And Mr. Peterson as well. Yeah. Sorry, Mr. Peterson. Mr. Peterson as well. Yeah. We've all been through instances that in regards to things like depression, anxiety, and other things that will be addressed on the YouTube exclusive as well.
Exactly.
Right? So that's why we want to address it. We want to put a light on it, and it may not be the most enjoyable per se enjoyable episode, but it's an important thing that we decide to address. So because again,
as we've been saying,
yeah,
it's a taboo subject that nobody really wants to touch, and we here at the network, we're like, screw it, it needs to be addressed.
Yeah, exactly. Let's do it. For sure. Let's do it. Because I know a lot of people in my life that go through, including myself, that go through these things. So I think it's a very important thing to address.
All right. So, Kosta, we're out of music right now, right? This is a music channel.
Yes.
How many musicians out there have been through depression and everything else?
Countless. Trust me.
How many have actually taken their lives because of it?
Oh man, I can't imagine. I'm
not saying drugs. I'm talking depression.
Yes.
PTSD.
Yes.
Everything else. The drugs are separate. Drugs are separate.
Yeah, drugs is separate. Yeah.
It's the stuff that people don't realize they're taking their lives from.
Well, speaking of depression and stuff, he didn't take his life, but even Kendrick Lamar addressed being in a hotel room while touring in Argentina and screaming into his pillow and not knowing the reason why he's doing it. But the reason was because he had depression, he had anxiety, he had other things like that, and we don't realize it because an entertainer's job is to entertain us, other people, right? So we just take it as that. But you don't know.
Prime example.
Yeah.
Linkin Park's lead singer.
Yes.
Had such a bad depression, took his life.
I know. Go ahead.
Kurt Cobain.
Yeah.
Took his life. Depression.
Yeah.
Wasn't drugs. It was depression.
Yes. And again, it's because their focus, an artist's focus, is to entertain other people, and they know, and we feel bad about it as fans, but they know that as long as it's kind of a selfish thing, because as long as we're entertained, we don't really think about what the artist is actually going through at the time, right?
Correct.
So it's kind of a selfish thing, but yeah. And you never know what people go through. Like I just said, Kendrick Lamar was going through depression, and he didn't know why that was happening. Like the guy was screaming in his hotel room in Argentina for no reason. Like nobody knew what was going on. Like it just things that happen. It can come up on you randomly just like that, within the snap of your fingers.
Yeah. How many people sit there and look, prime example, we'll look at a weapon and go, how can I kill myself with this? Because of the depression so bad.
Yeah.
Better yet, Kosta. Folks, as you saw in our commercial, I smoke a vape.
Yeah.
How many of our children are taking their lives because of depression and the
And
bullying
bullying.
that goes on.
And bullying. Yeah. It's especially like after I don't want to address it like this, but after COVID, it's gotten a lot worse because, to be honest, people don't and children don't really know how to act like in public, right? Like everybody's used to virtual interactions, right? They don't know how to act in public anymore.
It's not
Really.
even that. Well, it was way bad before
Yeah,
COVID.
yeah.
Kids were killing 11-year-old kids are killing themselves because of the bullying.
Yeah, it's
Come
not.
on.
That's where
That's where I draw the line.
yeah, exactly. And like I think what's important is for parents to not blaming the parents, but for parents to have their kids in as many extracurricular
A
programs
lot of it,
as possible.
though, is the school district's problem.
Right.
They're
That
not
I agree with.
they're not taking the responsibility of like when we were kids
Yeah.
to do something.
Yeah, exactly. Like instead of okay, you suspend somebody for bullying, right? They come back the next week, they do it again.
Yeah.
And again.
And
Like,
I blame a lot of it. I blame the parents on the way they're raising their kids.
yeah. That's true. It could be, in some points it could be the parents' fault too, because again, you give your kid a tablet. You technically don't know who and what they're interacting with on the internet.
The problem
during
is
that
parents
time,
are
right?
working 2-3 jobs just to support the family, keep the house over their roof, the roof over their house,
Yeah.
the kids, putting food on the table. They never know what the heck these kids are doing.
Exactly. And that's the problem. Like you never know who your kids are interacting with online.
And
or whether,
now, with what we were just talking about, what the parents are not doing to
Yeah.
keep an eye on the kids, it falls into the music. Now the kids are listening to different music.
yeah.
And for example, years ago, kids were listening to Metallica, heavy
Yeah.
metal,
Yeah.
and oh God, these kids are in trouble, are big news. If something went wrong, they were blaming the music.
Yeah,
It's
I know.
not the music.
It's not the music. It's the people around the kids. It's the people around the kids. Like
Yeah.
either in school or at
It's
home.
their peers.
Yeah, their peers. Exactly. It's not the music, because I listen. Okay, look at this. I listen to hip hop music, for example, right? In the majority of hip hop music, they describe violent situations. You can see me here. I'm not a violent person. I'm not a violent person at all, right? So again, it comes back to having self-control, knowing the difference between right and wrong, and having the parents take some responsibility for what their kids are doing.
Kosta, look at when rap originally came out, okay? In the
Yes.
late 80s.
Yeah, NWA.
What were they always talking about?
Yeah, man.
They were always talking about the police.
But I was gonna say
Violence
violence
against the
against the police.
cops.
Yep.
Now,
And, like,
you don't hear about that.
exactly. Now you hear now you know what these young artists are doing? They're snitching on themselves about crimes they did on their songs.
Yep.
Which is something that you never, I don't know who's involved in it, but you never ever do it, because the authorities can use it against you in any case.
Yeah.
Like anywhere.
You commit a crime, they will search every social media you have.
Exactly.
Between Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, you name it, they search it all.
Exactly. And like I don't, and that's why you're seeing so many deaths, so many like deaths from young artists in the music industry right now, is because they're admitting to committing crimes in their music. And in the early 2000s and earlier, like you never heard that stuff because
No,
except for the NWA, but that's an exception. Forget that, right? But after that, you never heard that.
no.
Like, because people know that they're gonna get in trouble if they say something like that. But now these young artists, they don't care.
Nope.
And it has to change. Because music, you know what? I'll tell you this. And one last point before we end this episode, okay? So music is supposed to provide the artist who's rapping with a better life, right? That's why they do it.
Well, instead of rapping, it's any genre.
Yeah, right. Any genre.
It's supposed to be a better life, but a lot of times, unfortunately, the rap industry is the one that is singled out the most.
Yeah, by more like if Christina Aguilera did, committed a violent crime,
Yep.
you know how many people would be in an uproar, like saying things like, oh, she didn't do this, maybe she didn't do that, or whatever, right? Like it's such a different narrative that it has to change. Like
Correct.
just because it's rap, again, and this is a different perspective of it, but just because it's rap, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to, or they committed a violence, right? Because if it was a pop artist, everybody would be up in arms, like, oh, she didn't do this, she didn't do that.
Actually, Costa, here's a trivia for you. Okay.
Okay.
The great late Johnny Cash.
Yes.
He sang Folsom Prison Blues, right? Folsom.
Yes.
Sang about. Do you know why he sang that song?
Off the top of my head right now, no, I don't.
Because he was there as a convict for murder.
Really?
Mm-hmm. He committed murder and was sent to Folsom State Prison.
Mm-hmm.
And when he got out, that's why he sang that song.
Oh, I didn't actually know the background story of that. Wow, that's interesting. Okay, well, I gotta do my research on some of the older music that came out right now. But yeah, wow, that's an interesting point to end off on, Mr. Roberts. But yeah, I enjoyed the show. I thank you for coming on and joining me in some music topics. But I think it's time to bid everyone adieu and stay tuned for next week because we have more hip hop and music news in general coming up. So I will report on interviews that I have coming up soon. Hope you guys stay tuned. Enjoy the rest of your night. Thanks for tuning in. Peace out.